The Dallas Stars are on the verge of a dynasty as the Mikko Rantanen trade was made official with an 8-year, $12 million extension, but that is not the only thing. While Logan Stankoven is out the door, there are now rumblings that Wyatt Johnston's contract extension talks have resumed as he is represented by the same agency as Mikko Rantanen. There are a bunch of things to dive into, the implications on the Stars moving forward and how this team looks to be a perennial Stanley Cup favorite. So many crazy things are going down. Stick around for this episode of Hat Trick HQ, and don't forget right now to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest news on your favorite teams across the NHL. Mark, let's get into this. The trade is made official at this point by all accounts. Carolina and Dallas closing in on the deal. Well, maybe it's not officially official, but it basically is. Mikko Rantanen is going to Dallas with an 8-year extension at $12 million per year, which first of all is a great deal, I think, compared to what he was asking. Carolina gets Logan Stankoven, 2 first-round picks, 1 in 26, 1 in 27, and also 2 third-round picks, 1 in 26, 1 in 27. So a first and a third in each of 2026 and 2027. You don't see the thirds here, but that was clarified after. Mark, this is insane. I know Stankoven's great, beloved by a lot of Stars fans. He's a smaller winger who looks to have some scoring upside, but the fact that you can lock down Mikko Rantanen at a price tag that honestly seems very reasonable and probably less than what he would have gotten in free agency is unbelievable work by the Dallas Stars.
And I mean, the biggest thing is seeing that an 8-year extension, like you said, Wyatt Johnston as well. Mikko Rantanen was the biggest name and the biggest fish that a lot of teams were looking at. We seen him go to Carolina. Obviously, that didn't work. And the Dallas Stars win the Mikko Rantanen sweepstake. 27 goals this year, 43 assists, but it doesn't even paint the picture on how good this guy truly is. I'm sure Dallas Stars fans know from when they played Colorado, but someone that can go out, score 40 goals, someone that's over a point per game in mostly every playoff series, the Stanley Cup champion, 6'4", Mikko Rantanen, and it's insane to say, will be a Dallas Star for at the least 8 years, which is just insane in my opinion. Josh, like, I'm kind of fumbling my words at this point looking at this, and I know you alluded to it in the intro. Does this kind of open up maybe a dynasty window for the Dallas Stars now that they acquire Mikko Rantanen, locking up Wyatt Johnston and with the core they already have?
I mean, it's insane. I think you have to consider them now a perennial contender. I mean, we got Heiskanen, who was moved to LTIR for this move. Look, I will say there are a lot of hoops to jump through in terms of salaries, right? But at this point, Dallas seems to be committed to making this work. Rupe Hintz is on a big contract, but he has been the best player in the NHL since the Four Nations break, scoring, I think he's up to, 15, 16 points now. Jason Robertson, again, had a tough start to this year, but we know the kind of player he can be. Mason Marchment has been solid there in that top 6, but now you fill that top winger role with Mikko Rantanen. You went and traded for Granlund. He could sign again this offseason, but regardless, you're freeing up some money on that front. And now, with rumors that Wyatt Johnston is maybe going to be extending, I look at this team, I see how good so many of their players are, even a guy like Thomas Harley on defense, and you got, even Maverick Bourque now. He's been playing up in the lineup on some nights. I still think he has quite a bit of potential. Yes, you do lose Stankoven, and Jamie Benn's getting older, but you don't have to deal with that contract much longer. Honestly, Dallas seems to be fully committed to going all in to win a cup, not just now, but be a perennial contender for the next few years. And every single thing they're doing is leading towards that. And again, and we got to mention Jake Ottinger and net, like we mentioned last Stars video we did. There are no weak links to this team. They somehow got even stronger than we could have imagined. Yeah, they give up some draft capital, but hey, you have a bunch of playoff success, you're going to forget you ever traded those picks.
And I mean, the biggest thing is, listen, you were talking about Heiskanen is on LTIR. It seems like he could return maybe in the second or the third round. Sagan's on long-term injury reserve. You have Colin Blackwell on in the press box. But this is a team that's deep at every single position. I mean, going to look at the lineups. Down the middle, Hintz, Duchesne, Wyatt Johnston, Steele. These are great center depths, and you just add the plethora of even a more elite wingers on the sides in Granlund. You have Rantanen joining this team. Dadonov's been fine. Robertson, it doesn't even make sense on how the Dallas Stars can, it feels like a franchise mode, I should say, at this point. Getting this to work, signing an extension, Wyatt Johnston seeming to come back. Listen, losing Stankoven does hurt. It kind of stinks, no pun intended. Looking at Stankoven right now, he did have a good year last year with them. He's kind of not went up and didn't produce at that level going into this year. But Josh, listen, the biggest thing is, yes, you lose out on a young player in Stankoven. Yes, you move out 2 firsts and 2 thirds, especially with a team that maybe doesn't have the most draft capital. This is before the trade has fully went through. But looking at this at the end of the day, in my opinion, this is well worth it. It opens up the window not only this year, but for the next at least 5 to 6 years as well.
Yeah, and when you're looking at acquiring a player, that's kind of the ideal thing you get, right? You get a bunch of years of their prime. And yes, you're getting Rantanen until he's in his mid 30s, and you don't know how he's going to decline. Bigger guys, sometimes they keep using their size, sometimes they don't. There's a lot of question marks on that front. And again, him moving from Colorado, being on Nathan MacKinnon's wing, going to Carolina, playing with Sebastian Aho. Some of the advanced stats were pretty good, but the numbers, they just weren't great. So there is going to be some question of fit. But right now, Dallas is, not only adding an incredible player to that top six, they're adding another Finn, which seems to be a big thing that Dallas wants to go for. The lineup is, filled with them right now. So it's really, really cool for the Dallas Stars to do this as well. And look, they've been a great team for a bunch of the last few years, adding pieces here and there, always been solid. They've had some great talent. So even like Jason Robertson at one point was considered maybe that fringe superstar level talent, but now you get that guy in Rantanen. You have a bunch of guys that could all easily be point per game guys, not to mention having an incredible decor with Lindell, with Harley, with Heiskanen when healthy. Labushkin's probably not your ideal first pairing guy. Labushkin, CC Dumba is maybe their weakest link now, their right D, but again, like they have other options and still playoff style, it's not that bad, right? Like when it comes to the playoffs, those are still types of guys you want to keep. So right now, Mark, I'm just going to ask this question. As we're looking forward to the future, is there even a team in the NHL over the course of the next, let's even say 3-4 years, as Rantanen stays in the middle of his prime? Are there any other teams in the league within the next 3-4 years that you think have a better outlook at winning a cup in that time span than the Dallas Stars?
I don't think so when looking at, listen, yes, you have some contracts. Jamie Benn's going to be off eventually, Tyler Seguin, but you have this young core and the next generation. As I said before, this Stars team is very good now, but you still have a young team. Wyatt Johnson's still, what, 21, 22 years old? Hintz is still in his 20s. Rantanen is still in his 20s. This is a team that has maybe a second tier they can hit. Once these guys fully hit their peak, yes, you need to move on from some veterans. Yes, you need to figure out the cap situation, but truly looking at the next 3 seasons, you have a core, you know what you have. Young players are going to continue to develop. You're going to have healthy seasons. Ottinger continues to get better season after season. Josh, I don't know if there's any team that doesn't that has a window bigger than them at this point. And this is a team that could still do stuff in the offseason to maybe bolster the right side, to add more depth to the team, to change things out. I mean, looking at this, and I know it's a little crazy to even insinuate, do you think maybe they're going to look at maybe one more small move ahead of deadline? I know the draft capital is going to get very low, but with that right side being a little shaky, listen, I know you have Jake Onder, Heiskanen's out right now, but could you see them maybe going out and trying to pick up maybe one more right-handed defenseman? Or at this point, I honestly just think Stars fans should be happy with Mikko Rantanen.
I mean, I'll be honest, I think they're probably done. I think they're like, that's it, we're done. No more worries. This team's going to be fine come playoff time. And I would have to agree. Now, looking at other teams, like especially this year, we see Winnipeg, another Central Division rival, going out and getting Brandon Tanev, getting Luke Shen, getting some guys to compete because of this Mikko Rantanen trade. We even see Colorado landing Brock Nelson yesterday and just recently trading away Casey Middlestat for Charlie Coyle, who's a bit more of a bigger physical guy who's going to be more annoying to play against in the playoffs. The teams in the Central are trying to fight against the Dallas Stars now, but a lot of these moves are short-term moves to try and make them contenders. I know like Colorado has an incredible looking future as well with McKinnon and McCarr. You can build pretty much anything around them and they'll make it work. Again, Blackwood in net has been great as well. But right now, the question is, how many times can Dallas make the cup finals? Like this team has gone all in. They have a great roster. They have some great young talent. And if Wyatt Johnston gets extended, it's going to get even crazier. Maybe he has by the time you're watching this video. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on this trade, because that'll do it for this episode of Hat Trick HQ. The Stars are terrifying. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. We have coverage all trade deadline long and all for the rest of the season. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.